It all made sense after the hustle, after the buzz, after the confusion, after everything. It all made sense. That is a quote I live by, not a quote, a thing I live by, and it's because I have seen it make sense. Oh, hi guys! If you fumbled on my page for the first time, Sasa ukoje? I am personally doing well. I hope you're doing well. Please tell me if you're doing well in the comment section, okay? Please interact, okay? If you're seeing this for the first time, my name is Maureen Gaye, founder of Hearted Stories. Here we just talk, we are vulnerable, we have a good time because mental health is not supposed to be boring and it's not supposed to be a weird conversation. So, yeah, glad to have you here. If you are returning someone here, I already love you. Yes, as I've started, today we are going to talk about It All Made Sense. And this is a conversation that I didn't think I'd be having it now because it has not fully made sense. You know, life, I wouldn't say I can stand up and say, you know what, my life absolutely makes sense. Hakuna shida, niko fiti. Guys, we are young, we are trying to figure out life. But with the little experience I have and with situations, I know this is a conversation that will come up in the next 500 episodes. Reflection, reflection, reflection. I just love reflecting. I love looking back at what journey and what life has been. And yes, so it all made sense. This theme for this conversation comes from a point in my life last year where life did not make sense. Like I felt confused, I felt heartbroken, I felt everything that can be felt, you know? That moment where like, hey my yo, according to that makes sense. Um, and I met up with a friend recently and he asked, how are you doing? The last time we were with him was last year in that period. So he asked, how are you doing? At that time I was struggling with school, I was struggling with career, I wanted to quit Hearted Stories. I just did not feel like I wanted to do most of the things that I was doing, or I was not comfortable. I think comfortable is the word. I was not comfortable with everything that was going on. So I was in that dark period, and then I met him recently, and he asked, "How are you doing?" And the whole time, my mouth was just like, it all made sense. Somehow, I don't know how, but it all made sense. And this brings up the conversation of anxiety and the need to have everything figured out. Eh, Hi guys, to my anxiety people. Hello, how are you? Watu wangu anxiety, we all know how we want to have everything figured out, to know how the next step will look like, we just want everything pangwad and working the way we want it to work. Until you realize it's not, we will not have our whole life figured out. And there are those days we will sit down and you're like, dang, this thing is not making sense. This situation is not making sense. At that time, I just quit one school. I was joining another school. I was doing film, a degree in film. I wanted to now do another course in psychology. So it was just a lot. There's a lot of things happening. And in that situation, like looking back from where I am now, I'm like, I was able to stop this, join this. I was able to move out from home and started a new life, quote unquote, in a different space. And it all made sense. It all made sense. And I think if I'm quoting this from the scripture, here we talk mental health and the Bible, because it is written, it is in the Bible, okay? It comes back to me with the story of Lazarus. In that moment, Mary and Martha wanted things to happen the way they wanted them to happen, They were like, Jesus, come and raise our brother. Like, just do it how it's supposed to be done. Like, healing is easy, but resurrection was not a thing in their mind, Like, they were like, okay, Jesus can heal, but I think it did not occur to them like Jesus can also resurrect. So even in that dark period, they felt Jesus had not done enough, or rather, in that situation, they felt alone. And that is what happens when we are anxious, or in that period where darkness is all over. We feel so anxious, we feel so hopeless. And then out of it, at the final end, I can imagine how Mary and Martha was really happy to see their brother resurrected. Like, they're like, oh, so that's why? That's why that's why you didn't come to resurrect Lazarus? Because he had a better plan. Like, it all made sense in that period. Again, even the man in the beside the water who was there for 38 years, it was dark. It was like, my God, how are we doing this? Like, tunatoka japa? Like, to him in that season, it was so dark. It was not making sense. It felt hopeless. It felt, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, he felt so hopeless until Jesus came and told him, get up. And it was like, I can only imagine if it was me back then, I'd just be like, oh, okay. I have been here. And then this man just comes and tells me, get up. It does not make sense in that period of darkness, even at this period of him being told to stand up. But it would make sense when people learn about Jesus, like the glorification that came after learning that it was actually Jesus and it was meant for a purpose. It was meant to glorify God. Hey, those are parts of the Bible that we can easily, forget and let go of and be like, okay, life is life. I am in this dark season. I will hug it. Again, even during Lazarus' time, Jesus cried. Yeah, we'll hear that scripture a lot. Jesus cried, but not because he didn't think he would resurrect Lazarus. It is because that he knew the emotions. Like, you believe that God will take you through the fire, but in that moment it was dark. He did not hide it. For that 38-year-old man in that season, it didn't feel like something good would come out of it, but there was a testimony. And I can only imagine him in that season. He didn't believe, or rather, he was not like, this is going to be okay. His heart was heavy. I can only imagine how his heart was heavy with all the darkness, with everyone just coming and passing him and passing him. It's like, when will my miracle ever come? He had probably even lost hope on the miracle. And then Jesus is like, you know what? Let me tell you something. Decides to bless him. Decides to heal him in the non-conventional way. And this is something I will often repeat. In that season, you don't see the light. In that season, the hope is not as burning as humanly possible. And it's okay in that season to feel alone and to feel confused and to feel darkness. But the hope should stay alive. Now, does the hope mean assuming that everything is good and that everything is smooth, or that something that it's not here? It's a lie. No, accepting that moment is being like Jesus at the cross, saying, God, take this cup away from me. But did he stop? No, because he understood his purpose. He understood him being on the cross meant that we would be saved. He understood it, and it takes a relationship with Christ for it to make sense, for us to endure during the dark period. It needs us to make sense. It needs not for us to make sense. For us to endure the process, it needs us to understand the purpose. like for Jesus in that moment, even when he's saying, God, take this cup of suffering from me, even when he's crying blood, I always forget to search for the name of that disorder. It's a disorder, it's a mental disorder of people who cry blood. And it's a stress reaction. I don't think you've cried up to that point. I don't think you've had your heart that heavy. And it's a stress reaction to a lot of emotions inside. Did he not know that it's for a greater purpose? He did. And that was one of the reasons that made him endure. That is one of the things that made him know this is painful. This is painful. But he understood his purpose. There's this book I absolutely love. It's by, I have it down because his name is interesting. Viktor Frankl, yeah. Man's Search for Meaning. And he's so emphasical. Hey, today I'm mincing my words beautifully. He emphasizes a lot on understanding the purpose. He was in World War II. They had been in captive, and all that. And he felt like the environment itself was depressing. But he understood, outside here there is a purpose awaiting for him, and that is one of the things that kept him going. Dear girls, dear guys, dear everyone listening to this. And understanding that, I think, takes a very deep relationship with God so that you know, truth is, it might be dark, but the purpose for it to, on our theme, it made sense. For us, for it to make sense, it takes that relationship. And I think that is where the difference between Jesus and Mary and Mother comes in. Because for Jesus, he understood his purpose. So even in the darkness, he would complain, but he believed. He complained, he cried, he was devastated, but he had his hope alive. For Mary and Martha, on the other hand, they had given up. When they saw Jesus, they're like, why did you let our brother die? You should have come earlier. You should have done better. They complained from an aspect of, this is done, this cannot be redeemed. But for Jesus, he was crying. But even when his Peter chopped the soldier's ear, he was like, no, I understand this purpose. It's gonna make sense in the final end. And he had a relationship with Christ that revealed to him it will make sense at the end. Yeah? So I hope that we all aim to have a relationship with Christ that shows us what his purpose is. We might not see the whole picture, we might not see the whole staircase, but believing in his will, believing that you cannot be going through this without a reason, believing that in this darkness there is light at the end of it all. That is where the secret lies. That is where the secret lies of it will be okay. Trusting God in the journey is another struggle that we have, because again, the relationship aspect of it, the relationship might be shaky. The relationship with Christ might not be as revealing as we'd like it to be, and in that breaking period, facts and everything are not aligning according to our wisdom, human wisdom. And at the end, like where we are saying it all made sense, we need to go through the process. And when we get to now where we say it all made sense, it's from a point of reflection. It's from a point of, I have sat down and I have seen the journey and I am grateful for this far. Ni rahisi sana lose the process, lose the journey, because you're like, we need to figure out things, we need to have, and when you're on the other end, the thing is, problems will never end. That's the thing. That's, if there's an assurance you have and you'll take from out of this podcast, is that problems never come to an end. And as you're journeying, it is easy to not sit back and reflect. With the story I began with my friend, I didn't intentionally move around thinking it all made sense until I was asked, How are you? How have you been? And I realized, oh, it all made sense. Through the journey, through the process, the attitude of gratitude, the mentality of, I have conquered that. Step one of this journey is, yeah, that's how you'll find people who are acing, doing great things. But because they don't sit down to reflect and be grateful for the journey, they will forget. They will forget that it made sense. They will forget that the tears they cried, they all made sense. They will forget how bumpy the road was, and now they are in a smooth lane, and now they are aiming for something big, and then they're like, there's another hill to climb. They forget they are now currently in a valley. Like, it's calm here, celebrating the here. Yes, I am trying to make this podcast really short, and I really hope that from this, we live with a mentality. If you are in the valley where you can see the hill, but right now you are in a calm and restful place, celebrate it, enjoy it, embrace it. It might have a bit of few hills, few small hills, bumpy maybe, but celebrate it. Embrace here, embrace here. However here looks like. And you might be the one on the hill. In that hill, intentionally pursue a relationship with Christ that helps you understand and have the confidence and have the resilience and have the knowledge and have the willpower to keep going. Because it's not going to be easy through the hill, but Jesus was able to do it. Jesus understood that even if these people crucify me, even if these people kill me, even if these people get me through the darkest, take me wherever they will take me, I have a purpose. And I really hope we all seek a relationship with Christ. We all seek a relationship with Christ that reveals that to us. It might not be Maureen, sasa nataka uende ufungue kanisa 200. Might not be that. Might be, Maureen, I have a purpose for you. Might just be that. And I think we all know at this point, God has a purpose for all of us. Now let us be intentional in pursuing what that purpose looks like. Let us be very intentional with our prayers, with our interests, what we enjoy, what we have fun doing. The things that you know, light, that desire in your heart, it is in your heart for a reason. That fire that is inside your heart, it is there for a reason. And I really hope that in that fire, in that darkness, in that tears and crying and acknowledging the pain, we'll grasp to the one thread that's there. And that's the will of God. And that's what God has called us to, our purpose. So yeah, I am wishing you a purposeful day, week, whatever time you're listening to this. And I personally praying for you that whatever season you're in, whether you're in the hill or the valley, you do not lose the hunger and the mentality and the thought that somehow it will make sense, or somehow this is the sense I was searching for. Okay? I love you so much. I hope you have subscribed. Microphone wants to behave. Okay, my hand. I hope you have subscribed. I hope this channel blesses you, and I hope that this channel humanizes us as it spiritually feeds us. Okay? Bye. With love.